Welcome to another class of botany. In the previous classes, from previous classes we are discussing about this biological classification. We have discussed in detail about Monera and Protista. Before going to fungi, kingdom fungi, let us learn about few terms. So that is, we have this viruses, viroids, prions and lichens. Here we have already listened this word virus many times. What actually are viruses? What actually are viruses? We can best define viruses as nucleoproteins. We can best define viruses as nucleoproteins. Here nucleo in the sense they have nuclear material, genetic material. In nucleo, that is genetic material, and protein. Viruses are the organisms which have genetic material and proteins. Here these viruses are actually acellular. Viruses are actually acellular. Acellular in the sense they are not composed of cell. Their bodies does not have cell, that is no cell. Cell is absent. Cell is absent. We do not find any living organisms. The basic unit of living organism is cell. But these viruses are not composed of cells. They does not have cells. So viruses are acellular. Viruses are acellular. We can even call them as non-cellular. Non-cellular, that is no cell, absence of cell. We only have genetic material and proteins. They only have genetic material and proteins. So that is why they are best described as nucleoproteins. They are inert. Viruses are inert. They are non-reactive. They are non-reactive in the sense when they are outside the bodies of the living organisms, they are inert. They cannot carry out their functions. They cannot react. They won't react. When they are outside the bodies of the living organisms, they exist as inert. They are non-reactive, they does not react, they does not carry out any of the activity. They does not carry out the process of multiplication or reproduction. So if they are outside the body, they exist as non-living. If they are outside the body, they exist as non-living, non-reactive. But when they are inside the bodies of the living organisms, they behave as living organisms. They take over the machinery of the cells of the organism in which the virus live. Virus, when they are inside the body of the host organism, host can be either animal, host can be either plant, host can be either bacteria, any organism. But when it is outside the body of living organism, outside the body of plant, animal or bacteria, it is non-reactive. It does not carry out any process. It does not multiply. But when it is inside the body of the living organism, it takes over the machinery of the living organisms. It takes over the cells of the living organism and it multiplies. It commands the host cell to multiply. When they enter in the host cell, they command, the virus command the host cell that you have to multiply the genetic material of the virus. They have to multiply the genetic material of virus. So when they are inside the bodies of the living organisms, now they take over the machinery of the host cell and they act as living organisms. But when they are outside the body of the living organism, they are just lifeless. They are just lifeless. They are non-reactive. They are inert. And they are not classified. According to Whittaker's classification, organisms are included under 5 different kingdoms: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and algae. We doesn't find virus in this classification. Why? Because acellular. Here Whittaker classified the living organisms. The organisms are said to be living when they have cell as the basic unit. When they have cell as the basic unit. Viruses, they does not have cell. So that is why they have not got any place in the classification given by Whittaker. So that is why they are not classified. They just act as a connecting link between living and non-living. When they are outside, they act as non-living. When they are inside the bodies of the living organisms, they act as living organisms. Okay. And this viruses was first discovered by scientist Ivanovsky. He observed. He was observing the plant of tobacco plant. So that plant was having a disease. So what he did, Ivanovsky, he filtered the sap of the tobacco plant, diseased tobacco plant, and he filtered the sap. And introduced that filtered sap, that is filtered sap of diseased plant. He took the diseased plant. He made the sap of leaf, that is some solution of the leaf of the diseased plant. After making the sap or the solution, he filtered that solution. With a filter. The filter was devised in such a manner. For example, we filter tea. For tea we have this filter in which now only liquid will drain out. Solid particles or the tea particles, tea crystals will be inside the filter itself. The filter is able to pass only the liquid content. It won't pass the solid content. So here also the filter is designed in such a way that even bacteria, the smallest living organism, cannot pass. The holes of the filter were very small. Even the bacteria cannot pass. We say bacteria is the smallest living cell. So this filter was devised in such a manner that even bacteria was unable to pass. So in this filter, he filtered the sap of the diseased plant. Okay. After filtering now, he got filtrate, that liquid, pure liquid. He got the liquid. Now this liquid he introduced into new plant without any disease. But after some time now, he discovered the symptoms of the disease in this new plant. Earlier in the new plant there was no disease, but after injecting the sap of this leaf or the filtrate of the sap of the diseased plant leaf into the new plant, then this new plant showed symptoms of disease. This new plant showed symptoms of the disease which were not there in the previously. So this means he observed that there is something very small which is even passing through this filter. Bacteria is the smallest living organism, but he observed that there is something even more smaller than bacteria. So that is why only it was able to pass through this filter. If it would have been bacteria now, it would not have passed through the filter. It will be present in the filter itself, but it was not bacteria. It was something else which was even smaller than the bacteria. So he called it as filterable agent. He observed it and called that as filterable agent, infectious agent. So filterable agent. Later another scientist, Beijerick, he discovered that this filterable agent is infectious living fluid. It is infectious living fluid, and he named it as Contagium vivum fluidum. He named that, a particular name was given to this infectious living fluid, and that name was Contagium vivum fluidum. Contagious means causing infection. Vivum, something related to virus. It is in this liquid. In this liquid there is, fluid means liquid. In this liquid there is certain thing which is causing infection. So that is why he named it as Contagium vivum fluidum. Later another scientist, Stanley, he discovered that this contagious or the infectious living organism can be crystallized. It can be crystallized. So this one, viruses are acellular, they are inert, they are not classified, and they are infectious. All of the viruses are infectious. All viruses are infectious, that is, they cause diseases. They cause diseases. So this was about viruses. They are not given any place in Whittaker's classification. Why? Because they are acellular. When outside the body they are inert, and when inside the body they take over the machinery of the host cell and rapidly multiply. They increase in number from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, rapidly they will increase. But it will happen only when they are inside the bodies of the living organism. They command the cells in which they are living and replicate and increase in number. Okay. So the discovery was given, that is, first it was discovered by Ivanovsky, then Beijerick called it as Contagium vivum fluidum, then Stanley observed that this infectious agent can be crystallized. Infectious agent can be crystallized, and we have different types. They have genetic material. One important point, they have genetic material. They are called as nucleoprotein, that means they have nuclear material, that is genetic material. That genetic material can be either DNA or RNA. DNA or RNA, this or is important. They will not have both DNA and RNA. These viruses either have DNA or either have RNA. Only one type of genetic material will be present, but most of the viruses have RNA as the genetic material. Most of the viruses have RNA as the genetic material. Now, in plants we find single stranded RNA. In animals we find both single and double stranded RNA as well as DNA. RNA as well as double stranded DNA. In bacteria, if this virus is found in bacteria, that will be having double stranded DNA. The virus which infects the bacteria, that will have double stranded DNA. The virus is smaller than bacteria. So the bacteria, this virus can even infect bacteria. Virus is very small, it can even infect bacteria. So such viruses which can infect bacteria, those are called as bacteriophages. Bacterio means bacteria, phage means viruses. Viruses which can infect even bacteria. So such viruses are called as bacteriophages. This is bacteriophages. Usually I said you viruses are nucleoproteins, that is, it consists of genetic material and a protein coat and a coat of protein. That coat of protein is called as capsid, that is protein coat. This is the genetic material and this is the protein coat, that is called as capsid. This whole together is the protein coat, or we can even call it as capsid. This protein coat or capsid is made up of small units. This is one small unit, this is one small unit, this is one small unit. These smaller units are called as capsomere. The smaller units are called as capsomere. So, many capsomeres together make one capsid or the protein coat. So, this is the structure of TMV virus. TMV virus, that is, we discussed this now in the tobacco mosaic virus. The first discovered virus is TMV virus, tobacco mosaic virus. The structure is this one. It consists of genetic material and protein coat. The protein coat is called as capsid, which is made up of small units called as capsomeres. So, this was about viruses. The next term is viroid. These viroids, they are even smaller than virus. Viruses are smaller than bacteria. Even smaller than viruses, we have viroids. We have viroids. Why they are even smaller? Because these viroids have only genetic material. They have only genetic material. There is no protein coat. The virus was having genetic material as well as protein coat, that is genetic material as well as protein coat, that is capsid. Here only genetic material will be present. There is no coat like this. There is no coat like this. Only genetic material will be present. So, only the presence of only genetic material, then that is called as viroid. Only genetic material minus protein. So, that makes it even smaller than virus, and that is called as viroid. So, it consists, the genetic material is RNA. In viroids, the genetic material is RNA and it is of low molecular weight. It was first discovered in 1971 by the scientist T.O. Diener. T.O. Diener. So, viroid is only genetic material minus protein. It has only RNA as the genetic material, and it was discovered by T.O. Diener in 1971. The next we have is prion. Here this prion consists of only proteins, no genetic material. Viroid was having genetic material, no protein. Here prions, they only have proteins, they does not have genetic material. And the last but not last, that is lichen. We have listened this word many times, lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic association. Lichen is a name which is given to symbiotic association between algae and fungi. Algae and fungi, they both live together. They associate with each other in such a way that we cannot differentiate which one is algae and which one is fungi. They live together and they mutually benefit one another. Algae, we all know, they are plant-like. They are plant-like. They can prepare their own food. So, preparation of food is done by algae, both for algae as well as for fungi. Algae prepares the food for themselves as well as for fungi. But for production of food by algae requires certain materials, that is, it requires water and mineral salts. It requires water and mineral salts. That water and mineral salts and shelter is provided by fungi. Both of them are helping. Algae is helping fungi in giving food. Fungi is getting the materials which are required to prepare the food. Fungi is giving the materials and shelter, and by taking shelter and taking the materials, by living in that place and taking materials, the algae are producing the food. So, they both live together in association, in symbiotic association. So, this symbiotic association of algae and fungi is called as lichen. This algal component of lichen, the algal component of lichen is called as phycobiont. Phycobiont, and the fungal component of lichen. Fungal component of lichen is mycobiont. algal component phycobiont, fungal component mycobiont. So, fungi as mycobiont, algae as phycobiont, they both live in association and they help each other. That type of association is called as symbiotic and it is called as lichen. These lichens are good pollution indicators. So, they are present. We see lichen when there is no pollution. In India, we do not find these lichens. I think that is very few places, even if they are present, very few places, because it is everywhere pollution is there. When there is pollution, where there is pollution, we do not find lichens. So, if we see lichens anywhere, that means the place is pollution free. So, that is why we say lichens are the pollution indicators. So, with this we will finish this class. In the next class, we will start with fungi. Monera and Protista have been discussed. Now, we will start with the third class group of classification, that is fungi.